Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Fallout 76 and the disgusting little hovel that I call home within it. I am so disappointed. If you guys don't know, my brother and I pretty much exclusively play Fallout 76 together, and as a result of that, we decided that his camp was going to be our main base of operations, and my camp was going to be a mobile camp that we could set down and fast travel in between locations. Unfortunately, one day, and I know you guys will not believe me when I say this, Fallout 76 bugged out. I know, doesn't make any sense, but it happened, and when we signed in, the awesome camp that we built together was completely gone. We actually built it just underneath the Flatwoods Lookout, right along the cliffside, right where these guys are at. In fact, we built this awesome camp right there. It was so cool, but unfortunately, it was all gone one day when we signed in. It was not in his inventory. It was not in his camp. Basically, it was just removed, and all of our hard work was now gone, and as a result of that, I decided to strike out on my own. I wanted to build my own somewhat permanent settlement and start making some caps because I am level 41 at the time of this video being recorded, and I have 113 caps to my name, which is terrible. I'm tired of being poor all the time, so I decided because the base got completely destroyed, why not build a new base that can help me farm a little bit of caps here within Fallout 76. I knew I wanted to be within this area, but wasn't exactly sure the exact location. I was actually just walking along the train tracks here trying to find a decent location, and I stumbled upon this tower. I looked underneath it and I found that there was an iron deposit down here. Now, if you guys don't know, if you have your camp built above a deposit of any kind, you can put down an extractor and pull that mineral up from the earth. Unfortunately, iron gives us steel, and steel is not exactly the most rare item in the game, but it's still pretty cool to be able to have a steel extractor within your camp itself, right? The big reason why I want to go here as well is because of how conveniently located it is compared to a bunch of other spots. So right up the railroad here, we have Sutton Station. Right down the railroad, we have Charleston Station. Right behind me, we have Camp McClintock, which is a great place to go if you're looking to farm ballistic fiber for making armor and things like that. Right behind there, of course, we have the Lakeside Cabins, which I can go and own and then start farming materials from there. And then behind that, we, of course, have the White Spring Resort. Then a bunch of other locations, like, for example, Summersville. We have Sutton. We have Flatwoods, all just right here in this vicinity, along with lots of locations for blackberries and wood and mute fruit and super mutants and stuff like that all along the railroad here. So it's a very convenient location, and it's also a really good location if you're looking to make a bunch of caps relatively quickly, right? And the reason why is because of how the vendor bots work within this game. If you guys don't know, the vendor bots are basically all tied together, but tied together based on faction, which may be a bit confusing, so allow me to explain. Right up the road here, we have Sutton Station. This is technically a raider vendor, right? So when you go up there and you talk to the vendor bot, that's a raider bot. But down here, the Charleston Station bot is a responder bot. All responder bots are tied together. So if you sell a bunch of things to the bot here at Charleston Station, and you get all 200 caps from that bot, all the other responder bots on the map are also not going to have any caps until those caps are refreshed in 24 hours. So if you get all the caps from the Charleston bot, for example, the Morgantown bot is not going to have any caps either until 24 hours is up. The difference here is this is a raider bot here, right? The raider bots are not tied to the responder bots, so I can get 200 caps from the Charleston Station and then 200 more caps from the Sutton Station, right? I know that's a bit convoluted, but that's how the vendors work here in this game. Basically, you can sell stuff to them, yeah, get the caps from them, and then their caps will refresh after 24 hours. So the idea here is for me just to build up a farm. Actually, I need to make some fertilizer right now, but the idea is to just build up a farm of blackberries and mute fruit and stuff like that, and just basically farm out a bunch of things to sell to these vendors each and every day until eventually I have a bunch of caps that I can actually go ahead and purchase a bunch of things. So yeah, that's pretty much the entire backstory of my little settlement here. That's why I decided to build my camp here. It's pretty terrible looking, but at the same time, it's almost kind of realistic, right? So I'm kind of liking it the more I stay here, but I wanted to show you guys that here in today's video, explain why I built my settlement here and what the advantages are, and I also wanted to talk about my character and how I built him here in Fallout 76. Maybe show you guys my weapons and my stash and things like that. So if that sounds interesting, sit back, relax, and enjoy, because it's going to be a pretty fun video. So the idea behind my character was to make him somewhat similar to the character I had back in Fallout 4. If you guys didn't catch my Let's Play in Fallout 4, I built a scientist character who was all about power armor and energy weapons and things like that, and that's basically why I wanted this character to be here in this game as well. But it's kind of hard to be a proper scientist character without finding all the proper materials, and I'll be talking about that here in a second. And it's also kind of difficult to be a scientist character when it comes to the builds that you have available here in this game. So as you guys saw earlier, I am level 41, so I haven't maxed out my special stats so far, but I've already maxed out my intelligence. The idea between my character and my brother's character was I was going to be the super smart, super scrawny, and weak kind of sciencey character that can build weapon mods and use energy weapons and hack terminals and do stuff like that, and my brother was going to be the big, bulky, melee strength character, right? Well, unfortunately, because of how this game is designed, I ended up building into strength as well, and he ended up building into intelligence pretty heavily, which kind of went against our initial idea. The reason why is because you kind of have to build into both of these if you want to be successful in this game. So, of course, I maxed out my intelligence. First thing, I did was max out my intelligence and get all the perks that I could. I have First Aid here. I have Hacker 1. I have Expert Hacker, Master Hacker. I have Scrapper and Gunsmith and all sorts of stuff like that that are basically going to help us out when it comes to intelligence. But after I did that, I had to start building into some other things. So I decided to go into Perception because I wanted to use laser rifles like I did back in Fallout 4. But there's a couple of downsides to that. One, most laser rifles are going to be automatic, and two, laser rifles aren't very good here in this game. At least I haven't found any really good laser rifles. If you make them semi-automatic, they are incredibly weak compared to the ballistic rifles. So you basically have to build into going full auto, but there's very few decent full auto guns in the game. They're mostly semi-automatic, and it was really unintuitive, which is why I'm very happy I found this bad boy, the Radium Rifle. It's basically like a Volkssturmgewehr in real life, but with a bunch of circuitry and stuff like that on it, and it also does radiation damage, which in my opinion does kind of fall into the idea of a science character. I mean, look at this gun, for crying out loud. It's all sciencey looking. I actually really do enjoy it. Now, going back to the perks here, I have Rifleman, which is going to make my non-automatic rifles do 20% more damage. I have Expert Rifleman, which is basically the same thing, makes my non-automatic rifles do 20% more damage. I'm working on Tank Killer, which is going to make my rifles ignore 24% of my target's armor and have a 6% chance to stagger, and then a couple of extra things on here as well, like, for example, Exterminator to make it so you do more damage against insects, Green Thumb here for harvesting flora, and things like that, right? Now, going back to the strength, unfortunately, with how this game was designed, it's a little bit better now, but with how this game was designed, pretty much everybody has to build into strength, even if you don't want to be a strength character. Again, going back to my character, I am a scrawny scientist. I'm a tall, skinny scientist guy. I'm not supposed to be super strong, but because of how the game was designed, I kind of had to be strong, right? I had to take strong back to gain 10 carry weight. I had to reduce the weight of all my chems by 90%. I had to, not really take that one, but I had to make my armor weigh 50% less. I had to reduce the weight of all my junk items by 75%, and that was a blessing and a curse, right? Because in this game, if you guys don't know, when you die, you drop all of your junk. But because we had such limited stashes back in the day, they actually changed it relatively recently. The old stash limit used to be 400, now it's 600. But because it used to only be 400, you had to pick and choose what you put in your stash. You couldn't really just load up the stash with all sorts of different items and stuff. So you kind of had to carry all of your junk on you, which worked for a while until one day I was killed by an enemy player. It's the only time I've ever died here in this game. I was killed by 2 enemy players. I killed one, but his buddy took me down. And I didn't start it, they started it, and I ended up losing all those items, which was super unfortunate. So that's a real catch-22 of a perk card, in my opinion. Like, it makes it so you can carry a lot more junk and have a lot more junk in total between you and your stash, but you run the risk of losing it because you're carrying most of your junk. So my advice is, the valuable junk, put it in your stash. Your junky junk, keep that on you. And then, of course, the final perk here is going to be Full Charge, which is going to be good for my power armor, which I do have power armor, and I'll be showing you guys that here in a second. The other perks, I didn't want to build into Endurance because it goes against the theme of my character, but I did take Aqua Boy as my perk because being able to swim without taking rad damage and also being able to breathe underwater is a pretty big deal. My Charisma perk changes if I'm buying and selling. Of course, I'm going to swap that in and out, but when I'm also playing solo, I can go down here and take Lone Wanderer, which is pretty good. You can take these other perks as as well. That's what's kind of cool about this game. You can just constantly be swapping in between these different perks based on the build that you want to go with, which really kind of de-incentivizes you to make a new character. I mean, I'm a science guy here, sure, who uses semi-automatic rifles, but I could build into full auto rifles or shotguns or anything like that just by simply leveling up. If you guys don't know, at level 50, you stop gaining special stats, so the stats there at the top, you stop gaining new ones of those, but you get new perk cards every time you level up after 50, so you can basically eventually get almost every perk in the game, and then just build your character however you want by swapping your cards in and out. Of course, your special stats will be a little bit different, but I mean, that's pretty much it, right? If you want to build a shotgun guy, you can be shotgun and intelligence, right? I have no real reason to ever switch my character up unless I really, really, really wanted to build into charisma or really build into luck or something like that. But if you're like me and maybe you want to go from a shotgun character to a, semi-automatic rifle sniper character or a melee character, you can easily do that without having to make an entire new character and start the game over. Over here at Agility, we have Through Hiker, which we had to take to reduce the weight of our food and drinks. We have Born Survivor, which is kind of decent, and then Ammo Smith to allow us to craft more ammo, because ammo is very, very hard to come by here in the Wasteland. And then here at Luck, we have things that are going to help me find more chems and find more ammo. So that was the idea behind my character, and I said that we had some power armor, so let's go ahead and take a look at that now. Do I hear something? Oh, no, it's this, man. I'm still getting used to the windmills. I love the windmills, but occasionally they make this noise that sounds just like a super mutant walking with a bunch of armor on. Like, it freaks me out every time. But I love the aesthetic these things have, man. They are so cool. The sound that comes from them, it reminds me so much of the Borderlands universe. And at the same time, does this not look right for Fallout? Like, this actually looks pretty legit in my opinion. So I kind of like my little settlement here. Let's go into power armor, though. I have 2 of these. Now, I think this signifies this is my Tricentennial one. I'm keeping this because I found some pieces of armor I want to give to my brother, so I have 2 of these, but let's go ahead and place this down. This should be the right one. Yeah, it is. Okay. So we basically have a full set of T60 power armor here, with the exception of my right leg. I can't find T60 right leg, but other than that, it's all T60 with the Tricentennial paint job that you get. Was it for pre-ordering? I forget how you get that paint job. But there you go. And I also have an absurd amount of fusion cores. Like, no, I'm sorry, it's not under 8. Why am I looking at 8? It's actually all the way over here under ammo. I have 16 fusion cores there, so there's 20, 21, 22, 23, and then a plasma core. Is the plasma core different? They look the same, but maybe they're different. By the way, so we have 23 fusion cores right there, and then when we go into here, I'm going to have even more just stowed away. So we have 16, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 14 more in there. I am stocked up. If you guys want to farm fusion cores, you can do so all the way down here, right here at the Poseidon Energy Plant Yard. Basically, just go there, take it over, and then you have to build a lot of generators, like I think like 8 or 10 generators or something like that to power up the machine, but then that machine will start producing fusion cores for you, which is pretty good, right? So go and farm that up, and you'll get a bunch of fusion cores for your power armor. So the idea for this character, if I can farm up more caps and get more materials and stuff like that, is to basically just be Scientist Man in his power armor with his radium rifle that he loves so much. But right now, I just need more materials. For example, ammo. I'm pretty much out of it, right? I have 20 shots left in this, which is not very good. And I can't really improve this weapon either. I can't really improve anything because, again, I'm so freaking poor, which is why I built this settlement right here. It's because I want to start farming caps and stuff like that. If we go over here to the weapons workbench and we go to modify, I want to make my radium rifle better, but I can't. I also want to repair it, but I can't. I need to get some more spring. I need to get some aluminum, right? I could actually take the barrel and make it a long barrel, which will increase the range and make it a better rifle in general, which will be good. And look how cool that looks, by the way. But again, I need aluminum, right? I can't repair I have so many things I need to repair. This needs to be repaired slightly. The lever action here, which is wonderful, is about to break. Definitely needs to be repaired. I just need to I need to go out there and scavenge, man. I've been slacking. I've been not going out and like doing enough things. I've been too much of a homebody as of recently. So again, I just need to go exploring, head into Sutton, go explore there, head back to Flatwoods, just basically go farm stuff in all these areas around me, which is why I built this camp here in the first place. Now, let's go ahead and wrap things up here today. Oh, power armor is going to be recalled. That's fine. Can we set up a power armor station? I know you can have a power armor station, but can we, like, display our power armor at that station? Because that would be really cool, in my opinion. But let's go ahead and take a look at my inventory and then everything in my stash as well. So you guys have been looking at most of the weapons here. A melee weapon as a backup is always good when you run out of ammo. The guns that I run, this is the lever action. I freaking love this thing. I've been using this forever, but unfortunately I can't really upgrade it because, one, don't really have the parts, but two, I don't have any of the mods. How you get the mods here in this game is you basically have to scrap weapons, and lever action rifles aren't super common, at least for me so far at this stage in the game. This is pretty much the only one I have. Actually, I have another one I'll show you guys here in a second, but yeah, you have to scrap these things to get plans for them to be able to upgrade the barrels and get different optics and stocks and things like that, but I can't do that unless I find more of this weapon, so that is definitely a bit of an issue, but I absolutely love this rifle. It's got me through so many tough situations. Again, I've never actually died in this game, except for the one time where those two people ambushed my brother and I. They killed my brother, I killed one of them, and then the other guy finished me off. Then there was like a little bit of a war after that where we kept killing each other back and forth, but this was the rifle I used in that little bit of a skirmish there. Here are some binoculars. Here is going to be the automatic laser rifle, but because I'm building the semi-automatic rifles, the laser rifle just really isn't all that good. The radium rifle is really where it's going to be from here on out. I also have this Tommy gun, which is armor piercing. It is so freaking good. I've actually had some pretty bad luck at finding legendary weapons, but this one feels like a legendary weapon with how good it is at times. And yeah, so those are the main weapons I have on me most of the time. Going back to the inventory here, just standard armor whenever I can get it. I don't build too much into my armor because it just really isn't all that worth it. It's also super expensive. My brother's kind of the armor guy, by the way. He is the one that got all the plans early on. Like, initially, I was going to be the guy that did all the weapon mods, and he was going to do all the armor mods, but eventually he started doing armor mods, or weapon mods as well, and I started doing armor mods as well. But I don't have pocketed stuff. He has pocketed, so next time he's on, I'm going to have to give him all my armor and have him pocket all of it for me. And then when it comes to aid, I just try to carry most of the stuff that I would actually use. Buff tats, some things I'm going to be selling here, of course, but buff tats, med-X, mentats, very good if you're looking to level up fast, because, of course, higher intelligence equals more experience. We have some food in here, like mute fruit, psycho buff, overdrive, rad-X, rad-away, of course, and lots of spoiled food, because I've been talking all this time and not cooking the meat that I had on me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Of course, a bunch of junk, but I usually carry the junky junk on me, and the good junk will be, of course, in my stash. And speaking of the stash, let's go ahead and take a look at that next. Whenever I find something cool, I like to hold on to it, right? So going to the weapons, we have the anti-scorch training pistol, which is from a campaign mission, if you can call this game's story a campaign. We have the black powder rifle. It is a low-level one, but it's the only black powder rifle we found so far. And because I'm building in the rifles, it's kind of fun to have a rifle that's that powerful. We have the broadsider. I'm not high enough level for it yet, but the broadsider, which is going to shoot cannonballs. We have ourselves a crossbow, a fat man, a heated super sledge. I'm giving that to my brother because he uses melee weapons a lot more than I do. A light machine gun, which is based off the MG42 in real life. I like this gun a lot, but I'm out of ammo for it. The M79 grenade launcher rifle, the mini gun. I love this gun right here, man. It's semi-automatic. It's like an AK. It's kind of like the Chinese rifle, right? Did they used to call this a Chinese assault rifle in the previous games? Maybe I'm off target with that, but this gun is very good, but it's broke, and I can't fix it because, again, I have no freaking items on me. The power fist, giving that to my brother. Protest sign. I just keep that because it's funny. The protest signs are hilarious. Block the bot. You know, there's so many funny sayings on them. And then this thing, I told you guys about another semi-automatic, or I'm sorry, lever action rifle. This was it. I can't use it right now because I'm only level 41, but I found this, and I love it, man. I already like my lever action. Well, this is an upgraded lever action with a scope, and yeah, so it looks pretty fantastic. I think it's going to be a fun weapon to use. And then we have the salvaged Assaultron head, which I don't get it. It says charged by reloading repeatedly. The more charges, the higher the damage, irradiates user. That's all fine and dandy. I don't have ammo for it, so I can't show you, but every time I use it, it basically lets out one giant beam of energy, and it uses every little bit of cell ammo that you have on you. with that one shot. Is it supposed to do that? Because that's what it does for me. I could have, for example, 700 cell ammo on me, and it will use all of it with one shot. It'll probably do a lot of damage, but all in one shot every time. It's like, okay, well, there goes 700 rounds. I much would have preferred not to do that because chances are that was like super overkill to use all 700 rounds. We have the short flamer, which is a flamethrower. Very fun. We have a couple of ski swords here because I'm giving those to my brother. He's going to scrap them to get mods for them and stuff like that. The Somerset Special, you get that from the campaign. Very good revolver. I mean, ignoring 50% of your target's armor, that's very good, especially if you can also build into pistols on top of that. And then just a hatchet, which has been in my inventory for way too long now. When it comes to apparel, I grab pretty much everything that I can. I think it's really cool in this game. One of the big problems with Fallout 4, in my opinion, was you had to choose between looking good, like an actual person out in the world, and actually having armor. Well, in this game, your apparel replaces your armor. So you can have good armor on, but also look like a normal person out in the world. And as a result of that, I pretty much keep every little item that I find out there. When it comes to aid, I just keep all the bobbleheads in here. I don't really use them whatsoever, but I kind of have fun collecting them. We actually don't have any holotapes in there. We have some miscellaneous stuff. And then here's a lot of what I consider to be good junk, with some junky junk in here as well. But like ballistic fiber, adhesive, of course, copper and oil and circuit, and stuff like that. I keep most of that stuff in here because, again, if I randomly die out in the world, which is unlikely, but it can happen, I don't want to lose any of this stuff. So whenever I come back to base here, I drop off all the good stuff here, which is working out pretty well for me. Nothing really when it comes to mods, then just a bunch of ammo that I don't really use on the weapons that I have on me currently. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much the long and the short of my character here in Fallout 76. Very fun game with lots of problems, but still it's fun nonetheless, right? I think a lot of people do enjoy Fallout 76 well enough. I mean, obviously, we want the game to be better. We want the game to improve. We want NPCs to become a thing. We want Bethesda to fix all the bugs and the problems and add more things to the world. But, I mean, in general, there's a lot of fun still to be had in this game, and especially when you play with a friend, right? Which it's super unfair to give that as like a piece of criticism or like part of a review, because literally everything is fun when you do it with your friends, right? But my brother and I have so much fun exploring Appalachia together. And, yeah, man, so I want to make this video here today, just showing you guys my character, talk about, what we did going into it, how we built our characters, our ideas for our characters, and I would love to hear down there in the comments, how far are you guys into Fallout 76, and what is your character like? What do you do with your character? Leave all that down there in the comments. Thank you guys all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.